So what if our entire universe, everything we see, everything we feel and experience, is really just a shadow? We're going to dive into this really radical new framework, the TCGS framework, that says exactly that. It suggests that our reality, this 3D world that we think is moving through time, is actually something far, far stranger. It's a projection from a static, timeless, four-dimensional source.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the huge, unanswered questions in modern science that this theory actually claims to solve. Then we'll get into the core idea of this shadow universe, see how it completely rewrites the rules of science itself, and then, finally, we'll look at what it all means for something as personal as free will and reality as we think we know it.
To even understand why a theory this wild is on the table, we have to start with the problems. And right now, science is facing some of the biggest, most fundamental, unexplained anomalies in its entire history.
And here's the question that really kicks the whole thing off. What on earth could dark matter, the ridiculously improbable emergence of life, and our own sense of free will possibly have in common? You've got problems from cosmology, biology, and neuroscience. They seem totally unrelated. But the TCGS framework says, nope, they all come from the exact same hidden cause.
Okay, first up, cosmology. We look out at galaxies and they're spinning so fast they should be flying apart. Literally disintegrating. So to make the math work, we've had to invent dark matter and dark energy. But let's be honest, these are just placeholders for 95% of the universe that we just can't see or detect. It's a massive, glaring hole in our understanding.
Then you jump over to biology, you have these incredibly complex things like the human eye that have evolved independently multiple times across different species. This relies on a chain of what is supposed to be random chance events that are so unlikely they've been called statistically miraculous. So how does all this amazing order just pop out of randomness over and over again?
And finally, maybe the most personal one is what neuroscience has found. It's a real shock to the system. Brain scans can actually predict a choice you are going to make up to 10 seconds before you have any conscious awareness of making it yourself. It's a direct assault on our gut feeling that we are in control, that we have free will.
Okay, so with those huge problems sitting there unsolved, let's get into the solution that the TCGS framework proposes. And I gotta tell you, it is a wild one.
The theory starts by completely rebuilding the foundation of reality itself. It's this concept called counterspace. So forget everything you think you know about 3D space plus time. Just throw it out for a minute. Instead, I want you to imagine a static, unchanging, four-dimensional block of geometry. This block contains everything that ever was, is, or will be, all at the same time. According to TCGS, this is the real deal. This is the fundamental territory of existence.
This slide just lays out the comparison perfectly. Our standard view is that reality is dynamic, right? It's like a movie playing out second by second in 3D. TCGS says, no, that's wrong. Reality is the entire film reel, the whole thing, existing all at once, totally static. Our universe, the one we live in, is just a 3D shadow being projected from that 4D reel. And what we experience as the flow of time? Well, that's just the illusion of the film running through the projector. And this leads to a pretty profound conclusion, which is captured perfectly in this quote from the source material. This feeling we have of being separate from this higher reality, it's an illusion. You aren't just in this 4D object, you are a part of it. You've always been there.
Now, if you accept this premise, even just for the sake of argument, it doesn't just change physics. It fundamentally changes what science is and how we should be doing it.
So the framework makes this really fascinating analogy to mathematical logic. Think of the 4D counterspace as the territory. It's the absolute, total, underlying truth of everything. Our 3D universe, then, is the map. It's our limited, provable theory of that truth. And those weird anomalies like dark matter, well, they're like Gödel sentences in math, statements that are absolutely true in the territory, but that you can never, ever prove using only the rules available on your map.
And this leads to a really crucial point. The whole goal of science changes. It's no longer about falsification, trying to prove a theory right or wrong. It becomes more like cartography, the endless, infinite process of just drawing a better, more detailed map of a territory we can never fully capture. So from this point of view, an anomaly doesn't mean reality is broken. It just means our map is incomplete.
Okay, so let's get to the payoff. Let's see how this brand new perspective claims it can solve all those dark mysteries we started with, not as separate problems, but as different shadows of one single cause. And this slide, this is where you see the real power of the theory's claim.
Dark matter, the chance in biology, even the weird asymmetry between matter and antimatter, they all get reframed as the exact same type of thing. They're all just geometric artifacts, or shadows, cast by the 4D source onto our 3D map.
So the method here becomes really simple. Instead of observing an anomaly, like a galaxy spinning too fast, and then inventing new stuff in our 3D world to explain it, like some new particle, TCGS says, hold on. The explanation isn't new stuff, it's in the geometry of the projection itself. The shadow is behaving weirdly because the 4D object casting it has a particular shape.
Okay, this has all been really cosmic, really abstract, but let's bring it all the way down to the most personal level we can. What does this theory actually say about your consciousness and your ability to choose? This slide here shows the famous Libet experiment, right? Where brain activity starts before we feel the conscious will to act. TCGS looks at this and reinterprets it completely. That time gap isn't your unconscious brain making the decision for you. It says the entire event, the thought, the intention, the action, is a single static 4D object. The time gap we perceive is simply the geometric distance between two different slices of that same 4D object.
And what about that staggering 10-second prediction? How can a brain scan possibly know your choice before you do? Well, the theory suggests your brain is coupled to a larger geometric structure that already exists in that 4D block. Your brain at T-minus 10 seconds is just one part of the same object that also includes the future decision. In this 4D counterspace, there's no past or future. It's all just one static shape.
And this leads us to the theory's most blunt, most provocative conclusion. Your sense of free will? It's the subjective experience of reading a pre-written, four-dimensional geometric script. The feeling of making a choice is real, sure, but the choice itself was determined by the geometry of the block all along.
So after this whole journey through this incredible, and let's be honest, mind-bending framework, what's the ultimate picture of reality that we're left with?
Well, here it is in a nutshell. Reality is a static, 4D object. Our universe is its 3D shadow. And all the things we think are fundamental, the flow of time, the role of chance and randomness, they are all illusions created by how we happen to perceive that shadow. And our own consciousness? It's the experience of witnessing a story that is already geometrically complete.
Which leaves us with one final, profound question to just sit with. If this geometric view of reality is correct, it suggests that every single moment of your life, your past, your present, and your future, exists simultaneously, as part of a single timeless structure. So, is your life a story that you are writing, or is it a story you are simply reading?